Hello to all of you bold, beautiful, brilliant, and highly evolved souls. I am Davina, and today I want to share with you 5 steps to sort of managing and overcoming shame. Shame is, I think, one of, well, probably the most difficult of human emotions to deal with. And I think the reason for that is because it can be so easily identified with, which means we take it as a fact. We take it on like it's true, and we start to believe that that is the truth of our being and our identity. So instead of just feeling I feel shameful, I feel ashamed, it becomes like I am shameful. And Pete Walker points this out as well. So I think this is often why we also tend to resist shame, because it is so freaking painful at the core of our being to feel and to believe that we are worthless. And so I think it's kind of like it's such a difficult feeling to actually feel. Um, I have at times, but it can be extremely difficult. um it tends to, for me, feel like this heavy wet blanket, and it can also make me feel tired. It just drains me. I feel like I'm like half alive. And if you're in shame, you're probably I know for me, like I don't have any sense of creativity or spontaneity. um because I know when I'm not feeling shame in those rare moments when I kind of come alive. I like to sing, and I'm silly and I'm spontaneous. And I notice this, when I'm with children, especially, that this sort of other side of me sort of pops out, and suddenly everything feels like ease and connection and flow. And it's a way different way of being. Um, and I just get so used to being in shame that I forget sometimes that I'm in shame, and it's hard to really acknowledge that, yes, I'm in a flashback and I am feeling ashamed. So the step number one is simply to start to name it and say, I am feeling ashamed. And you might have to say this several times and out loud, and just like start to get a little bit of space from it. And what you can also do is start to like tune in on what kind of like more specific shame, what does that feel like? So I listed a few here. I feel despicable. I feel useless. I feel pathetic. I feel like a piece of shit. So, I feel like a loser, like all those kinds of things. If you can kind of pinpoint it a little bit more, it can sometimes also help to either, feel those feelings, or just, again, bring a little bit more distance. Um, and you can remind yourself that this is a feeling, this is not a fact. And you might want to say that out loud or write it down. So that's step number one, is to name it and see if you can sort of differentiate what kind of shame you're feeling. Number two, and this question has come up to me before, and the question to ask yourself is, what if I'm not shameful? What if this is not true? So we start to just just open up a possibility that this is not true. And I realize that this is a really important step, because it's very difficult to go from I'm feeling ashamed to no, I am worthy. It just doesn't really work. There's steps in the middle. What if I'm not what if I'm not this shameful person that I'm believing that I am right now? What if it's not true? What if I'm not despicable? And just again, pose that question, say it out loud, write it down, whatever you need. And again, then it starts to just loosen up even a little bit more. Like, maybe this isn't true. Maybe. Step three, and this seems like an obvious one, but remind yourself of why you're feeling ashamed. So you want to name your parents' abuse and how it caused you to feel ashamed. So you want to say, A caused B, their abusive behavior caused me to feel ashamed. And like name that connection. So you're starting to see like, okay, the shame didn't come out of nowhere. The shame is here because these people did and said these things. So, for example, I feel ashamed because my parents negated who I was. They made me believe that I was worthless and unlovable by dismissing my feelings. So, again, connecting their action with how you felt, the impact. They made me think that I didn't matter by not responding to me and ignoring me. They made me feel like something was wrong with me by their invalidation and criticism. Got one more. They made me feel like I was subhuman, like I was nothing by oppressing my natural and authentic self-expression. And then again, just reminding yourself, like, I feel ashamed because my parents shamed me, not because I am inherently, fundamentally defective. I am not defective. So that is step number 3, to name your parents' abuse and the effect of feeling ashamed that you had. Step number 4 is to go another step further here is to name their pathology. And I'm sure you've done a ton of research like I have, and you're familiar with how it works, but naming it, saying out loud, writing it down reminds us. My parents felt inner self-loathing, and instead of dealing with their own shame, they projected it onto me through numerous abusive behaviors. For them, shame was intolerable, and they truly preferred to see me in the horrible pain of shame than to have to face it themselves. And I wrote this very small. They only care about keeping their own shame from their conscious mind. And this is an unconscious process that is constantly going on for them, that they cannot bear to consciously experience that shame. So they're always in this unconscious mode of having to dump it onto somebody else. And of course, you just happen to be a convenient target. So to remind yourself of this pathology and that it had nothing to do with you, that these people just had, they have a serious mental disorder, a serious personality disorder that makes them do this. And finally, number 5 is to then claim your self-worth. And it still may not feel completely true, and that's okay. There are just layers of it. I've been sitting with this since like 7 o'clock or 7:30 when I got up this morning. The shame has been there, and I've just been like kind of wrangling with it since then. And so it's just like, and it's still here, but I think it's lessened, so we can just lessen the layers of it. But anyway, try to claim your self-worth. You might want to picture yourself as a baby, like if you have a baby photo or photo when you're a toddler, or even just, and just picture that baby, picture that holding that baby, and how precious that being is, that they are an unrepeatable miracle of life. And imagine like, wow, like just them being, they don't have to do anything. You just love them, and you might want to try a few kind of affirmations if it feels right. I am worthy. I am valuable. I am important. I am precious. Just like all of life is precious, like a duck is precious, right? It's a precious, unique expression of life, and so are we. And we don't have to be perfect to be lovable and worthy. Yeah, so those are the 5 steps that I came up with. I hope that is helpful or validating for you today. Shame it's a difficult one. It is a very, very painful and challenging feeling. Challenging is yeah, that's not the right word. Extremely hard. So I am always wishing you many, many blessings on your journey of healing and awakening. And I am Davina at Boldness Blooming. Thank you for watching.